A storyline on Sir John A. Macdonald, Canada's first Prime Minister, from Confederation in 1867 to completion of the railroad in 1885, in his time and his legacy. Presented at the Alberta Family History Society Resource Centre by Ian Harvey and Jim Benedict. Chapter 5: The Steel Road from Sea to Sea.
So now we're going to try to bind this country from province to province, from sea to sea. Let's build a railroad, Mike. So British Columbia joined as a province on the province of a connecting railroad. But early construction costs and a scandal caused the Macdonald government to collapse in 1873, returning in 1878. The CPR company itself was started in 1880 by a group of Scottish-Canadian businessmen, headed by George Stephen. Some extra feedback there. Construction was slow until the engineer Cornelius Van Horn came on board. The railroad was planned to be finished in 10 years' time, but they actually built the remainder of it in only 5. Van Horn completed a record 673 kilometers of rail by 1882. And the last spike was driven in November 1885, just as the CPR was running out of money again. Within 3 years, CPR had caught up on all debt and was prosperous. So Sir John A. said, quote, "In the Northwest, we know there is a sparse population. We know that these railroads are to be built, not to meet the wants and desires of the present population, but for the purpose of inducing a future population to go in there." So, what are the benefits of building a railroad? Well, first of all, bringing in British Columbia as a province, then securing our border with the Americans and through the Red River settlement, to link the nation from British Columbia to Nova Scotia by speedy rail. Most important back then, moving agricultural products going east and you manufactured goods by going west. That's been a thorn in the side of Albertans from way back, that we supplied them with all the food and we had to buy their expensive automobiles coming back the other ways. Listen to my father. Bring European immigration into the fertile prairies. Then add maritime shipping services for connecting Canada to the world. Later on, adding passenger air traffic, CP Air, into the 20th century, and then finally adding hotels to attract tourism in Canada. So the Palliser, Banff Springs Hotel, lovely, Chateau Lake Louise, others, and have a European-style experience for tourists coming from elsewhere. Well, steel road from sea to sea, how are we going to promote it? CPR produced some wonderful posters to attract people on the other side of the ocean. They were told, you can have 160 acres free. All you have to do is build a house and cultivate some land within 3 years. Meetings were called. Here's one, a lecture in Glasgow on Canada. Healthy climate, free schools, etc., etc. And finally, immigration, bringing people in. This is a plot I was able to create showing immigration into Canada from Confederation right up to 1900. You notice a spike in the middle, 1882, 83, and 84. That's when enough of the railroad was done and they were attracting people in to come to Canada from overseas. Now you might say, oh, well, that's all the Chinese that showed up to work on it. In part, Chinese immigration was 5% of those numbers. Americans heading north for free land that they were not getting on their side of the border accounted for a further 15%. The balance of 80% came from the UK and continental Europe. They're looking for land. You're talking about people that couldn't own land in the old country. They were tenement farmers, and the promise of free land for my children, my children's children was just too enticing.